what we need is accountability when we talk about the funding that goes to these different programs that are getting 50,000 here, 100,000 there, 30,000 there. Those funds need to start to go to the programs that we know are efficient and effective. And right now, if you really start to pay attention to the programs that are getting the money, the programs that you see on the news and TV and all these accolades, they have a place. Everybody has a place. But as far as them being effective, it seems like everybody wants to give the money to the programs that are reactive. They react. Somebody died, let me show up over here. Somebody got shot, let me show up over here. Where was you at before that gun was pulled? So we need those programs that are working within the communities that need them. You go to 42nd and Post right now, and it's almost non-existent. That community policing, it doesn't exist. It's not a library, it's not a gym. You got a cafe that's a building that's open, but you don't have any driving force that's pushing people to come into that building. So you gotta start looking at these programs that exist and all this money that they're getting to just be, and they're like, it's okay to just have a name, but nobody's doing that front end work.
A couple comments were made at the opening about younger groups, younger generation not being given that leash and go, here's the bit, go run with it. One of the problems that exists today in philanthropy is if you are less than 5 years old as a group and you don't have some high-powered board members and you don't have somebody paying $50,000 that know how to write a grant proposal, like they write an A paper to get a dissertation, you're not going to get any money. As part of solutions to violence, do we need to take a look at the big funders saying, wait a minute, you got to look at a way at younger, newer, grassroots groups to figure out if the program is valid, you can create accountability so you know the money is going to be used the right way, rather than say, wait 10 years and come see me.
Honestly, it's easier just to say no, and that's why they say no.
Yeah.
The same way it's easier to say, well, we know Indianapolis violence has risen, but look at Chicago. Like, government and politicians are good at the fake out. Not all of them, but they're real good at the fake out. They're real good at the illusion of taking what's right here in your face and making you look over here. So accountability definitely needs to be there, but they have the power to make other avenues to allow those younger groups, those newer groups, to get certain types of funding, even if it's limiting the amount that they get the first year and increasing it year after year based on production.
So, and to build on that real quick, one thing in my experience working with young and established together to stop the violence is a lot of those older groups that have been put in place, they are, they're taking up space that is not being used correctly. We have all these ideas, and before we got started, we went to a well-known organization, say, hey, we have this idea, let's work. We'll put it together, let's work. No, they didn't want to touch it because it was something new and different than what they had, been used to. So, starting anything grassroots, it goes through that phase. And, it's almost like you have to prove, you go through this period where you have to prove yourself that you're a credible organization. And a lot of times in those crucial years, if you're not getting the necessary support to a great program, you're almost dismissed by those who have the funding.
Yeah, and just piggybacking off of that, I work in nonprofit. Now I'm helping start a nonprofit, and that's what we're in the process of doing. And it's, one of those things where we run into all those similar problems. But it also goes, I just think of some of the older programs that do exist. Say, for instance, a Boys and Girls Club, that exists. And we know Boys and Girls Club, they probably getting $100,000 checks written left and right. But a lot of the programming, I volunteer this summer with them, and I go in, and there's, an older instructor, not to say, that's a bad thing, but we're talking about this generational gap. And then when I walk in and I start to talk to youth, it's like they're more receptive to some of the things I want to do or I say. But if I put that into an idea and say I have young and established and we have this campaign and we need funding, it's almost like, well, no, just go do it with the boys and the girls, or something like that, because it's like they've already existed. But a lot of the programming isn't as effective because of the generational gap. because they're not feeling that and saying, let's get, let's make it younger, or let's do things that are more appealing. The things that worked back then don't work now.
Attention